Hey guys, it's summertime. I am shredding. I got my shirt off more, and so naturally I'm getting more questions about my abs. So I thought I would do a video for you about how I train my abs. So if you think about your core, there actually aren't that many bones inside of it. There's your spine, there's a couple floating ribs, but the rest of it is all just the soft, squishy organ materials. Now, how do you keep all those materials from kind of spewing out? Well, you have to wrap them up. You have to wrap them up real tight. And what do you do when you have to wrap up something real tight like that? No, the answer is not duct tape. You have to wrap it from different angles. So you have your rectus abdominis and your spinal erectors on the front, and those muscle fibers grow up and down. You have your obliques, the internal and external obliques, which grow diagonally up in both directions. And then you have your TVA that grows crosswise around the whole thing. It wraps around your spine. And the other two muscles that we don't really talk about but are definitely a huge part of your core musculature are your diaphragm, which sits at the top. It helps with breathing. And your pelvic floor, which sits on the bottom, which helps you to not have accidents. Now, because all these muscles grow in different directions, they all have different functions. The rectus abdominis pulls the torso down towards the legs. The spinal erectors straighten it back out. The obliques will twist and bend, and the TVA kind of stabilizes your spine. Now, we also know that anytime a protagonist muscle is working, the antagonist muscle is stabilizing. So if you think about a dumbbell curl, you're curling your bicep, and then as you extend it, the tricep is stabilizing the elbow joint. Well, the same is true for your core. So anytime, say, I'm twisting, my obliques on this side are working, and on this side, they're gonna be stabilizing to come back. So the idea that you can train your abs with only one or two exercises like crunches and a plank just isn't nearly enough. The core musculature is this dynamic group that needs a lot of different types of motions to train it fully. Now, my goal when I'm training core is to make it functional. Between fighting scoliosis, between having 3 kids, being an athlete, I need it to work, and I need it to work well. Now, I also believe that a well-developed, equally proportionate core happens to look good. So with that in mind, I go into my program design trying to hit every angle and function of my core every week. Now, I like to train my core every single day. I will only do maybe 1, tops 2 exercises, but I do at least a few sets of 10 to 20 reps every single day. If you think about it, your core can handle a lot of volume because you are using it every single day. Every time you breathe, every time you walk, every time you bend, twist, anything, you are using your core. So in my head, why not train it to do that every single day? All right, so blah, blah, blah. Tess, what are the moves you actually do? Let's check them out. The first and most common movement is spinal flexion. So this is going to be anything that brings your chest towards your legs. So think of exercises like sit-ups, crunches, reverse crunches, cable or machine crunches, or hanging leg raises. Opposite of that would be spinal extension. Now, this is something that I personally don't do too much of in my programs because I have a very tight lower back, but something like a Superman is a great exercise for spinal extension. So because I do tend to arch my lower back quite a bit, the one movement that I train the most is anti-extension. So this is going to be resisting the urge to arch your back. Think of exercises like dead bugs, ab wheels or Swiss ball rollouts, hollow holds, and planks. Next up, we have rotation exercises, which are movements that twist. So these are going to be your Russian twists, bicycles, and all the wood chopper variations. You also want to incorporate an anti-rotation exercise, which is where you resist the urge to twist. And a great exercise for that is a Pallof press. Or you can try the souped-up version like I'm doing here, which is a hurricane Pallof press. The next movement is lateral flexion, aka sideways bending, which are going to be your oblique crunches and standing hip hikes. And you know the drill, we also want to do an anti-lateral flexion movement which resists side bending. So exercises like side plank, unilateral farmer walks, and suitcase deadlifts are great for that. The last thing I want to go over is breathing, and I'll explain in a second how big an impact this makes, and I'll go through some techniques in an Instagram story, but I always do some kind of belly pumps or vacuums pretty much every single day. I hope that was helpful. The final piece of the puzzle that we have to talk about is breathing. So I published an Instagram story about different like bracing or engagement techniques, and I hope you check it out because breathing really is like the missing link. It's going to tie everything together because in addition to doing all of those different movements, bending, flexing, twisting, your core also assists in breathing, all of those muscles. So like I said, you have your diaphragm on the top, and as you inhale, that's gonna expand, and there's some little muscles over here too that help. But as you exhale, all these muscles in here help you exhale really forcefully. So by that logic, if you can engage your core just by breathing, why would you not incorporate purposeful, strong breathing with every single core exercise? You're just gonna get so much more bang for your buck doing that. So you could do a crunch, cool, it's doing something, I guess. Or you could do a fucking crunch, you know what I mean? Breathe through it. The more you can breathe and incorporate your breath, the better your every exercise is gonna be. If you have any follow-up questions or comments, please feel free to DM me, to leave a comment below. I love talking about this stuff. Honestly, like anyone at work will tell you, I'm slightly obsessed with it. So hopefully you guys are having a great week. I hope this helped, and see you next time.